What's a period like?
Some people like to free bleed, which is a new thing that people
Might be the oldest thing, really.
It's actually probably the oldest thing. I'm nervous. Oh my God.
I'm about to paint and interview Hill, who's a menstrual coach. It's her job to teach people about their menstrual health, symptoms, and fertility. I was super grateful to have this conversation because as a guy, I've always been socialized to never talk to women about their period. When my sister hit puberty, it was always, go ask mom, which is fine, but it's really strange considering that this is something that affects half the people in the world. Let me know in the comments if it looks like her. So why did you become a period coach?
My own experience initially. As a teenager, I had horrible periods. My cramps were horrendous, which unfortunately a lot of people experience. It's very common, but not normal. I went on the pill, you know, as a later teen, and then throughout my 20s, and that sort of muted the situation. But then coming off of the birth control pill at 29, I was reintroduced to all of these issues that I was facing as a teen. They came back and tenfold. And so it led me on this journey to figure out what I could do to fix my symptoms naturally. And then through that process of discovery, I was just so fascinated and also enraged of all the things that I should have known and did not know. And so I really wanted to share the information with other women as well. Just so many things that I was like, I can't believe I didn't know this.
What's a period like?
A period is so different depending on the person who's experiencing it. But a period is, generally speaking, a time to be more introspective. It's a time where you feel more tired and internal, and it's a good time to reflect and actually just like take some time off. So I always like to encourage people when they're on their, at least day one of their period, to like stay home, have some tea, cuddle up, because that's really what your body wants you to do, is to rest, and it's when your hormones are lowest. So it can also be really annoying for some people, especially if you're on the go, you know, and they're trying to manage it. Some people like to free bleed, which is a new thing that people are, not a new thing, but it's kind of like coming to the forefront more.
It might be the oldest thing, really.
It's actually probably the oldest thing. That's so true. It's true to a certain extent that our moods are different right before your period and on your period, and that's okay. Like, your moods are different, but
As it should be.
As it should be, exactly. However, you know, we don't want to shame women. That's the difference, right? You don't want to make fun. You don't want to, like, oh, she's just on her period, or like, because
It's very diminishing language.
It is, it's very diminishing, very demeaning.
What don't most men understand about women and their cycles?
So much. I think that a lot of men, and even a lot of women, you know, it's kind of across the board, but I think a lot of men really think that it's just your period. Like, it's just a few days out of the whole cycle, and then like something is happening, but they don't really know exactly what's happening. You don't necessarily know like what it feels like or how long it lasts, but I think the main thing is that people aren't aware that it's not just your period. Like, you're changing as a woman from week to week as you progress through the menstrual cycle. Like, it's a whole cycle. It's not just your period. So I think that everybody needs to be more in tune and educated about the fact that it's happening all the time, as opposed to just a couple of days. Yeah.
How should a man talk to a woman about her period?
I think it depends on the man. What are you asking, like
their partner
their
or
partner,
their loved one?
Their partner.
Yeah.
Okay, someone close to them.
Yeah, definitely not like the cashier.
Yeah, that's a very different scenario. I think the best way is to connect with, let your partner know, like, say I'm letting my husband know, for instance, what phase of the menstrual cycle I'm in as I progress through the cycle. That way he knows, oh, Hillary's in her follicular phase, so that means that she's feeling good, she's feeling energized, and I can like mess around with her a little bit more, or like poke fun, sort of enhanced capabilities during that time, as well as ovulation. But then if I'm informing my partner that I'm in the luteal phase, like, hey babe, I'm headed into the luteal phase, that means that my hormones are going to start to decline soon, and so I might need a little bit more space, I might need a little bit more support. So by me actually initiating the conversations and just like letting the partner know where I'm at, then the partner can just kind of get ahead of it and be like, oh, Hillary's in her luteal phase, let me, like her period's coming up soon, let me make dinner tonight without asking, or something like that. There are so many ways that you can support your partner or your friend or your daughter or whoever it may be, but I think just knowing what phase of the cycle the woman is at is the most helpful. Right? And I don't think that we should be hush-hush about talking about periods. I think it's okay to ask these questions in a framework of being curious and wanting to know more, and also asking to, support as needed in whatever way that may be.
At what age do you think we should start talking to kids about, especially girls, about periods?
Right away. Like,
right away?
As soon as they can talk. And by that, I don't mean having a full-on conversation about periods and sex and all these things. Those are two separate conversations. I think that normalizing it as a mom, like for whatever sex your kid is, let her be curious, and explain it in a very chill way, and just these little moments throughout their life as they're growing up will make it so it's not this big, huge deal, and something new and scary when it does happen to her, to the teen, or the preteen. So yeah, just normalizing it from a very young age. No hiding tampons, like the secret handshake with the tampon to the bathroom, like just out in the open, like let it be out in the open.
I feel like there's something kind of cool about that, though.
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, there is something kind of like cute and sisterly about a tampon handoff. I guess that's so true. But I think we should just let it all be out in the open, and just let kids of all ages and sexes know what's going on with periods from an early age.
What's something you wish you knew sooner?
I wish that I knew you could only get pregnant 6 days out of your menstrual cycle.
Is that true?
It is true. You're only fertile 6 days of your cycle, not all the time. You can't get pregnant all the time. So you can use your natural cycle as natural birth control. It's called the fertility awareness method. Have to work with the instructor to fully understand it. It's detailed, there's a learning curve, but it is possible. So I wish I knew that earlier, because I would have gone off the pill sooner.
Why are so many young girls prescribed birth control, even before they're sexually active?
It's a great question. If they're not sexually active yet, it's to mute the menstrual cycle, essentially. The doctor will tell you it's to regulate your menstrual cycle. However, the pill doesn't actually regulate your cycle. It really sort of turns it off. So you're replacing your natural hormones.
You're overpowering them?
You're overpowering them, exactly. You're essentially replacing them with the synthetic ones. And so when you're getting your period on the pill, it's actually not your period. And so a lot of the things that come with that, like period pain, acne, all these symptoms that teens are often complaining about or bringing up to their doctors, are not there.
Are there any negative side effects to the birth control pill, especially when giving it to children?
So many. There are so many. Your brain and the communication pathway between your brain and your ovaries is not fully formed yet. It's not doing its thing. It's not in its rhythm until you're in your early 20s, really. So when you're going on the pill and you're interrupting that process that your body is trying to get acquainted with, you're not giving your body the chance to become its cyclical self, and that unfortunately can lead to a lot of symptoms down the line, anywhere from the ones that I just mentioned, like period pain and acne, to things even like fertility issues and stuff in the future. Also, a huge issue with the pill is that teens are at higher risk of depression and suicide when they are taking the pill as compared to adults.
Really?
It's an issue for adults as well, but teens are much more vulnerable to these mood-based symptoms, and so we have to be very, very careful with hormonal birth control. What's important to know with the pill is that you're not ovulating on the pill, and when you're not ovulating, you're not making your sex hormones, and your sex hormones are not the devil that they're made out to be. Hormones get a bad rap, but they're actually integral for your health, and without them, you don't have access to all of the juicy health benefits that they offer, like bone health and breast health and uterine health and skin health and the energy that estrogen gives you. There's just like countless benefits to these hormones, and so when you're on the pill, you don't have access to any of that.
As a professional,
Yeah.
what is your biggest period tip?
Okay, I have a couple. So one is, it doesn't have to be complicated. You can start with a top-down approach and it'll make a huge difference for you. Like insulin and cortisol are your top-tier hormones, which means they affect all of your other hormones, your sex hormones. And when those are out of whack, that's when you get the weird symptoms and stuff and PMS. So if you're supporting your balanced blood sugar throughout the day and then reducing stress, or at least have a bunch of really awesome stress buffering techniques, then that helps your cortisol and your blood sugar, your insulin, to be balanced so that everything else can be balanced. And so I would say just start, and it's just simple, like simple stuff.
Like day-to-day tactic.
Day-to-day stuff, yeah, the stress buffering things like, you know, breathing and yoga and acupuncture and getting outside in nature, talking to humans like we're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just whatever stress buffering techniques are best for you and you enjoy most. And then the blood sugar stuff is super easy. Just, you gotta have, actually this is a huge tip, breakfast. Eat breakfast. Breakfast truly is, as they say, the most important meal of the day. So if you start with a high protein, full breakfast, it's gonna help your hormones, it's gonna help your period. I promise you, it's a huge game changer. Women not eating breakfast is no good. It's no good in my book. And then the other top tip I would say is learn how to track. Learn how to track your cycle so that you know when you're ovulating, because when you know when you're ovulating, then you can figure out which stage of the menstrual cycle you're in. And when you know that, you can tap into the different energies of each of the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. And just like, it's life-changing. You can harness your potential. Yeah.
Track it. I love it.
Track it.
Okay, you ready? Big
Okay.
reveal.
Oh my gosh, I'm ready. I'm nervous. Oh my god, it's so good. This is incredible that you did this so fast.
Don't
I
act
love
surprised.
it. I know.
I'm just kidding.
Follow to learn more about people.
Perfect.